recording this video to discuss um, litigants, particularly, I think, litigants in family. This is the example I'm going to talk about, but I think it would be civil litigation as well, using data protection legislation as a tactic in litigation. Now, particularly, I'm talking here about subject access requests, but it could also be complaints. Um, and the example here has arisen in a family case where I don't think they actually were using it as a tactic in litigation, um, but they could well have done. And I'm a civil litigator, and so it's something I would consider. Sorry, I should introduce myself. Ingemar Hunnings, lead consultant at HCL. We're a management consultancy helping law firms and those in the legal services sector with all the stuff around running their businesses. We do a lot of compliance support. We help and train firms on data protection compliance. Our consultants are also data protection officers in companies outside of the legal sector as well, because the legislation, of course, applies to all areas. But looking at this now as a tactic in litigation, it makes the life of the legal representatives an absolute nightmare because they've got to go and dig out all the documents, consider what needs to be done, and such like. So, yep, what we had here was an explanation which was really after the event, but it could have been done during this. So, husband was who the firm were representing in the financial proceedings arising out of a divorce. Wife represented by another firm of solicitors. So within the court proceedings, the law firm representing the husband sought information from an IFA as to the wife's mortgage raising capacity, which obviously would be an important consideration when looking at the final arrangement. Why they did it and not the wife's solicitors, I don't know. But they obviously gave information to the IFA for them to be able to do this. So they then the matter was settled, but then they received a complaint and a subject access request from the wife, agreed that the information had been shared with the IFA. Okay, so this is after the event, but could easily have been done during the litigation. It could have been done as a way of applying pressure to the other party to drive them towards a settlement. I've done this. I've been at the other end of this, not this particular tactic, but it's just another tool in the box. But the approach, definitely. So, yeah, our data protection specialist on this was saying, well, you can't ignore this. Article 6, lawful basis about the consent, legitimate interest, legal obligation. So, yeah, all of these apply. What did the IFA need in these circumstances? So that you can't ignore the complaint just because that person wasn't your client. Because of the data protection legislation angle on this. Also, they should consider identifying the information which was actually privileged, each category individually, redacting the information that they would be sending with regard to the subject access request, disclosing disclose wife's personal data that's not exempt. So obviously that's not exempted. And then the normal Article 15 supplemental implementation. So following the ICO guidance and making sure that that's all applicable. Now, do remember that there is now in place since June 2026 a requirement to have a data protection complaints policy. It doesn't have to be on your website, but it may well be referred to in your privacy notice. So, and therefore you need to have this available to send out to the complainant so they know the process you're following through this. So, all of this is about consumer protection. It's logical stuff for solicitors having in place a complaints policy is a requirement, and that has to be on your website. But it doesn't have to be on your website, but referred to. But it's the same sort of consumer protection. So, yeah, you can't avoid this stuff. It's best to be prepared. It's something that I would consider if I was back in litigation, not practicing at the moment myself, but yes, certainly something to consider. Um, and if you need help and advice and guidance on the data protection side of things, then do please reach out to us. We can help with that. And may I invite you, as all people on YouTube do, to like and subscribe to the video, because it helps it reach other people. And if you're subscribed, you may receive other videos that we put out there to discuss these thoughts. So I hope that's of some interest to you, and wish you all the best.